Jesus Christ. And I think we're all keenly aware as we look at those that the return of Jesus is very, very near. Today's message, though, to me kind of goes a step farther. It goes up just a little bit higher. It kind of ramps it up a little bit. Today we're talking about the signs in technology. And I think most of us are aware of that just when I give that word. But let me show you biblically why we are where we are because of the signs in technology pointing to the fact that Jesus is coming soon. See, today technology is moving at a more rapid pace than most of us can keep up with. Agree? I mean, you get a phone, a new cell phone, and guess what? That thing is outdated in no time. And you need a new one. Any other thing that you get, just outdated. I mean, society is moving at this rapid pace with technology. Here's what I want to do in the beginning. I want to go back a generation. I want to go back a generation and just catch a glimpse of the rise of the age of technology, where we are today. Now, I remind you as I say these things that they don't come from me. These come from the experts. So if I say something about your generation, don't you just say, well, that's just not true. It wasn't me, okay? These come from the experts. We're going to go back to the maturers. Because we're going to go back, by and large, to the generations that are living on earth today. So we're going back to the maturers, understanding that there would be some beyond that. But the mature generation goes back at least 88 years. And it goes back to those who were born from 1927 to 1945. So you may not want to admit that. That's okay if you don't. But how many people do we have here today who are a part of the mature generation who was born between 1927 and 1945? Raise your hand. Okay. We have a few, like 5 or 6, who fit into that category. The mature generation, the experts say, are used to doing things the old way. They are skeptical of technology. Now let me tell you something that I have found is that many maturers today, and many of them were born on the upper end of that, not the late end of that, but many of the maturers today are really into technology and doing a lot of things with technology. But the experts say this group is very skeptical of technology. My mom and dad fit into the maturers. I mean, married. Dad was born in 1929. Mom was born in 1930. So they fit into that mature generation. Dad's going to be 86 next month. Mom will be 86 in February after that. I bought my mom and dad a Keurig for Christmas. I thought it's the perfect gift, man. Because Dad makes this, he's like, I only need to make like 2 cups. He's got his coffee pot. So I take him a Keurig. I'm so excited, man. I got him a Keurig for Christmas. I took that thing in and brought it to him, and Dad's like, I can't use that thing. And I'm like, Dad, it's very simple. You've got the water in it. You just put this in, pull it down, flash it, push the button. You have a cup of coffee. So I'm not using that thing. So I said, let me set it up for you, Dad. So I set it up for him. I fixed it for him. I made a cup of coffee for him. I'm like, look, Dad, this is awesome. I go back up the next week. Hey, where's the Keurig? It's in the living room floor. The coffee pot was back up there. He's like, son, I'm not using that thing. I'm like, okay, I give up. Very skeptical of technology. So I took it back to the store. And guess what? They took it back. So I said, thank you, Dad. I'm going to go spend that money I got back. I'll do something for me. That's really good, right? All right, those are the maturers. And then we come to my generation. Then we come to the generation that has more people living on this planet today than any other generation, and those are the baby boomers. The baby boomers. Those who were born between 1946 and 1964. Just so you know, I'm on the back side of that, not the front side of that, okay? So, how many boomers do we have in the house today? Look at all the boomers. See, the boomers are like, oh yeah. The boomers have made an impact on this world in a major kind of way. Just think about the boomer generation. Rock and roll. Free love, right? That's the boomer generation right there. Absolutely. Non-violent protest. That usually become violent. But anyway, the boomers are the first TV generation. And I'm a younger boomer, if you will, and I didn't have a TV in our home until I was 14 years technology is requiring a learning process. It's like, man, I have to do that. But they eventually learn and they love it, partly because they need to, partly because it's just exciting to them. And then we come to the Gen Xers. There are a lot of Gen Xers in the world today, man. Those born between 1965 and 1980. The Gen Xers, man, are also a great group. They're making a major impact on the world. So how many Gen Xers do we have in here today? Ooh, the Gen Xers rival the boomers in this place today. That's pretty cool right there. I like that. Gen Xers. The Gen Xers remember school without a computer. How about that? How many of you Gen Xers remember, if you go all the way back, school without a computer? For most of them, the computer was introduced either in middle school or in high school. This is the first video movie generation. And yet today, it's Netflix. You know, like the video movie generation thing is like going out, right? Okay, and then we come to the Gen Ys. The Gen Ys. The Gen Ys are the millennials. The Gen Ys, think about the Gen Ys, the millennials, 1981 to 2000. How many millennials do we have in this place today? Put your hand up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Look at this. We need to do a count because this breakdown is very, very cool. All right? The millennials. The millennials grew up in a digital environment. It's all they know. Would you all agree with that? I mean, it's all they know is this digital environment. They have never known a world without computers. Have no idea. When you talk about a world without computers, the millennials are like, what? How did you exist? Then the boomers are like, well, you know, so they get all of their information and most of their socialization from the internet, social media, etc., etc., etc. And then we come to the Gen Zs. Now here's my question. If we've had the X, Ys, and Zs, where do you go after that, right? So I'm thinking the experts know that Jesus is coming soon because you get the disease, there's nowhere else to go. So the Gen Zs are called the bootlets. How about that? They're cool, the bootlets. I just like that. The bootlets were born after 2001. Now, most of the bootlets are in our children's department today. I mean, just cast a vision. Our children's department is awesome. So take those bootlets up to the children's department. They'll love being there. The bootlets have never known a world without computers and cell phones. Where the millennials may have known the world without computers, but not yet cell phones, the bootlets have never known the world without either. Not only that, but they now have wrist phones and all these other things as technology is spinning like crazy. Did you know that they say nearly 5 million of these bootlets have their own cell phones today? How many of you believe that? You've seen them with them, right? They have their own cell phones. They are less interested in traditional toys because they want what? Electronics. You know, I want my own electronic things. I can play my games on my phone and I can do this and that. In fact, one thing that I read said that companies like Mattel especially are in deep trouble with that because suddenly kids aren't wanting Barbie dolls and all of these other things and they're all wanting electronics. So some of those more traditional companies are really struggling. We've come a long way, baby. Would you agree with that? We've come a long way, baby, in a generation's time, a short amount of time, and we're still going. And we're moving at like the speed of light, man. We're just moving on. Nora Isaac said, according to the experts, the next century looks like an airplane runway that never ends. With the technology careening faster and faster toward an unknown terrain. In other words, we have no idea where this thing is going. And technology is just continuing day after day after day. We're on a roll with no signs of slowing down. Here's the key. We're talking about signs of the times. Did you know God spoke about this in the Word? He talked about this very thing. God spoke it to the prophet Daniel, who was prophesying about the things that are going to happen in the end times. Here's what he said in Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. He said, but you, Daniel, keep this prophecy secret, seal up the book until the time of the end. If you're reading in your Bible, if you're not, go home and highlight that. Seal up this prophecy until the time of the end. And then he describes the time of the end. which is the time when Jesus is coming back. The world is going to end. He will set up his kingdom. He said, when the time of the end, when many will rush here and there. Some translations say to and fro. And knowledge will increase. The thing that God said about the end is that it will be a time when people are rushing to and fro, running here and there, and when knowledge will increase. We've never seen a time like today when knowledge through technology is increasing in this world. The signs of technology, to me, are without question one of the most revealing signs that point to the soon return of Jesus Christ. We'll look at just how revealing they are. We'll look at 6 things. The first 2 are coming directly out of Daniel 12. The next 4 are coming directly out of the book of the Revelation. So when we look at those things today, you will understand how the signs of technology play such a role in showing us it's time for Jesus to come again. Lord, would you speak these truths to us today and convince us beyond the shadow of a doubt that the return of Jesus is very near, as the sign in technology clearly shows us. I pray that in Jesus' name. Amen. Word number 1 is transportation. Transportation. Daniel was told to seal up his book till the time of the end. And one of the signs of that time was that people will be rushing here and there. They will be going to and fro all over the place. In Daniel's day, that wasn't the case. In Daniel's day, it was a much slower paced society. Not very many years ago, it was a much slower paced society. Not true anymore. God said there will be a time when people are rushing here and there. Let me ask you, if you're alive, if you drive, if you have a job, if you're raising kids, etc., 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 do you know what that means? How many of you understand what that means? People in today's world understand what that means. People are stressed and they are in a hurry. Are they not? Most of you agree with that? I think about just Matt Manley's kids, Jason Tyson, my 2 grandsons. Yesterday, they had ball games. And guess what? Tyson had 2 football games. Jace had 1. We had men's breakfast here. We had a meeting after that, which meant I missed Tyson's first game, and he scored 2 touchdowns. How come was that? It's after his papa, I think. But anyway, scored 2 touchdowns. They won the game. I missed that. We're all calling, he scored again. I'm like, I missed that. So then I get there for the 12:30 game, just in time, in which they get shut out and he scores nothing. So anyway, I get to watch that. We go eat. We get back just in time for Jace's game at 3:30. We're running and we're just the grandparents, but we're not going to miss those. Amy has the same thing with her kids. Get off work, go pick up Kate, let us go to the others, go home, rushing to and fro. Right? We're all doing that because we live in the age that God was talking about. People need to be in 2 places at the same time. You ever say that? You ever just say, man, I wish that I had more hours in the day so I could get things done? How many of you ever said that? You hear it all the time, right? People are always saying that. We barely have time to eat. We barely have time to sleep. We are rushing here and there. It's exactly what God showed the prophet Daniel, how it was going to be in these last days. But this meeting is about more than our hurried lives. It's about our hurried lives and about modern travel. 2 very big things. Hurried lives, modern travel. That's exactly what Daniel said. In the last days, it's going to be like that. In Daniel's day, let's face it was camels, horseback, and chariots, or feet. That's the way it was in Daniel's day. So to think of a day like this was unbelievable. But in today's day, it's planes, trains, and automobiles, right? And we know that. We're familiar with that. That's just the way it is. Someone said the 20th century began on horseback and ended in a rocket. And in many ways it did. I mean, that's exactly where we are. It takes us 11 hours thereabout to fly to Israel. Does that amaze anyone beside me? In 1866, it took Mark Twain 3 months to get there by boat. I mean, it's astounding. You was Daniel told that these last days would be times of travel and transportation, rushing here and there, but he was told that they would be a time of incredible information. These are the days, my friend. These are the days. Now listen, hang on to this, what I'm getting ready to say. It is said that 80% of the world's total knowledge has been brought forth in the last decade. In the last 10 years, 80% of the total knowledge of the world has come about. And that 90% of all the scientists who ever lived are alive today. In the 19th century, it took about 50 years to double the world's knowledge. Today, the base of knowledge doubles in less than a year. Doubles in less than a year, the base of knowledge. It is estimated that medical knowledge, for example, doubles every 7 years. And scientific knowledge doubles every 20 years. The total written knowledge in the world is said to have doubled between 1450 and 1750, 300 years. And then doubled again between 1750 and 1900. 150 years. And then it doubled again between 19 and 1950. Between 19 and 1950, it doubled again, and then again from 1950 to 1975, and down to 25 years. Now, it is believed to double every 900 days. Every 900 days. Can you see why when you buy something, it's outdated before you hardly even get it? Now they say that by the year 2020, global knowledge is predicted to double every 72 days. That's stunning. It will double. Total global knowledge will double every 72 days. Not increase, but double. Double. I'm telling you, we are in the time when he said knowledge will increase. It is increasing. Do you understand that? Do you get that? See what I'm saying? Here's something sad. We can launch men and women into space. We can land on other planets and get amazing pictures of them. Did anybody see the picture of the woman on Mars? Anybody see that? How many of you saw that? How many of you buy that? Anyway, there was a woman that they showed others with a man and a little child. Anyway, they see this image and they're like, that's clearly a woman. Look at that. You can tell woman on Mars. Here's the deal. We do that. We launch men and women into space. We land on other planets. We get amazing pictures. And yet, we deny the existence of the God who made us. How ridiculous is that? That's where human knowledge is at today. Human knowledge has reached the point where it's like, we don't need God. We will need to believe about God because our knowledge has increased so much that we understand it all. And that's kind of where we are, exactly where God told Daniel we would be. Someone said, and I can use this word. Say you shouldn't use this word in front of children. I understand that, but we use the word. Someone said, with all this increased knowledge, we have gotten stupider. How many of you agree? We have gotten stupider because we lack the wisdom to know how to use it. And there's the problem. Knowledge has increased. Human knowledge is increasing at amazing rates today. How does that fit into the end? A really quick journey through the Revelation will tell us that. Final 7 years of time, the tribulation. I really wish you had been here for the Revelation study last year. We went through it Wednesday night, not just verse by verse, but word by word. And we covered every single bit of the Revelation, and there's much there. Today, I'm just going to get a few high points to show you how this fits in to what I believe is the time of the end, the last 7 years of planet Earth, the tribulation after the church has been taken to be with Jesus, that being the time that Jesus is coming again for his church. Now, what you believe about the Revelation, your view will be determined by how you believe the Revelation was given and what it's all about. Let me just tell you, before I get into this, I spent a long time being an all-millennialist, okay? That means an all-millennialist believes all of the Revelation was fulfilled in the past and has nothing to do with the future. I came out of Bible college as when you believe that. Because now when I look at the Revelation, here's what I see. And I've been here for several years, obviously. But I believe that the Apostle John on the island of Patmos, as he's being given this vision, I believe that John was seeing the future as if it were being shown to him on a large movie screen in God's high definition. And John in the first century A.D. had no idea what he was seeing. He had no clue how to wrap his mind around that, because he was seeing something that was happening, I believe, in the 21st century. So John tries to describe events in the 21st century in a first century kind of way. He's like, I'm clueless, but I'm trying to tell you what I'm seeing. So the next word is the word population. Population. Let's talk about that. In 1804, the world's population finally reached 1 billion. 1804. Getting near the 5,000 year mark, planet Earth, the world population reached 1 billion. It took 123 years after that for it to reach 2 billion in 1927. Then only 33 years for it to reach 3 billion in 1960. Those gaps narrowed until it only took 11 years from 1999 to 2010-2011 to reach 7 billion. Now the world's population clock is literally spinning today. And the Census Bureau wants our feedback on that. So I don't know if we want to give it or not, but we can just X that out, Bob, so we can see the world population clock. I don't know if we can X that out. But the world's population clock is literally spinning. And when you look at it, it's actually quite amazing just to watch it spin. So we're going to put it up there this time and just let you see it. But today, the population of the world is currently approaching 7.3 billion people. So the rate of increase is, what is contributing to that? Why is the population of the world increasing at such a rapid rate now? Well, you're going to say, obviously, more people having babies, so it's going to increase. That's not all. As more people are having babies, more people are dying. But the rate of the population is growing and growing and growing. A big factor in the increase of the population is the advancement in modern medicine. And today, modern medicine is absolutely amazing. What they're able to do. What we've seen happen with some of the people in our own church in recent days, recent weeks. I know people, and you probably do too, who have had a heart transplant. Not bypass surgery, not 6 or 7 bypasses, but a heart transplant. Who have been, a new heart has been placed into their body, and they are alive and well and doing great. How many of you know someone like that? We know others who have had, our population clock is now going, right? So you can see there's the USA, but look at the world population. And look at the major populations, those populous countries, because that's going to play into the message in just a moment. China number 1, India number 2. We'll talk about that in just a few moments. The advancement in modern medicine that has come about, the population growing as a result of the increased knowledge that Daniel said would come in the last days. Medical technology is amazing, it's astounding. What doctors can do is utterly amazing. As I think about all the things that are going on, it really blows my mind, and I'm thankful for modern medicine. Revelation chapter 9. The Apostle John is being shown the events of the tribulation period. And as he's being shown the events of the tribulation period, the last 7 years of planet Earth, I believe, after the church has been taken to be with the Lord, those who follow Jesus Christ, he sees an army of 200 million strong marching out of the far east toward Jerusalem. An army of 200 million. 200 million. That's astounding. I personally believe that they are coming from China. You may not believe that. Look at it. Give it a chance. I believe this army of 200 million is coming from the most populous nation on planet Earth. Right next to that, they're going to have to come through India, second most populous on planet Earth. So an army of 200 million, how in the world could that be possible? It would not be possible without the population explosion that has come about in part because of modern medicine. David Reagan, Nathan Jones, both say that and lay that out as well. Daniel said knowledge would increase in the last days. John saw it on the island of Patmos. You and I had better believe that we are living in that time. But that's only the beginning of the fulfillment of Daniel's prophecy that's found in the Revelation. The next one is communication. We have 3 to go. Bear with me. Communication. How many of you does it amaze that you can communicate with someone on the other side of the world just like that? Is that amazing anyone besides me? You know, probably the Boomlets are not amazing. All right, they're like, well, do it. I mean, why not? We do that all the time. So the Boomlets are not amazed. I don't know, the Gen Ys, you know, they may be a little bit amazed. Millennials, I don't know, probably not. Gen Xers, maybe just a little bit. It astounds me that we can do that. That I can communicate from Israel with people back here by phone, by Facebook, by email, that the hotels we stay in Israel are 5-star hotels and they have Wi-Fi, and I can sit there in my hotel in Israel and communicate with people back home. Last time I was doing that with my brother, and he sent a reply. That's the first time I ever received an email and a Facebook message from someone in Israel. It's amazing how communication has increased. The ability to disseminate information has exploded with possibilities in today's world. Glenda and I will be sitting down in the basement. She'll ask me a question about something. You know what do? I Google it. I pull up Mr. Google and he tells me. I tell her the answer. And she says, you Google everything. Of course I do. I mean, Mr. Google knows about everything, right? You know it has to be true. I found it on the internet, right? Hey, I mean, that's part of where we are. The internet is the information superhighway. Not that many years ago, we would have had no clue about it. Revelation chapter 11. The Lord tells John about 2 witnesses who will testify during the tribulation period. Here's what he says. And I will give power to my 2 witnesses. They will prophesy 1,260 days, 3.5 years, half of the 7-year tribulation period. They will prophesy clothed in sackcloth. Now when they finish their testimony, the beast that comes up from the abyss will attack them and overpower and kill them. Their bodies will lie in the street of the great city. That's Jerusalem. How do we know? The great city, which is figuratively called Sodom and Egypt, where also their Lord was crucified. That's Jesus. Then here's what he said. For 3.5 days, men from every people, tribe, nation, and language will gaze on their bodies and refuse them burial. I'm thinking John is wondering how in the world can the entire world gaze on the bodies of these men simultaneously. People from all over the world able to see this. It says they'll rejoice and give each other gifts and all these kinds of things. How can they do that? Via media technology, right? The media. Everybody will be able to see what's going on in Jerusalem during that time. Everybody will know. The Antichrist will make sure everybody is seeing this simultaneously. This event will be broadcast everywhere in the world. Everywhere. It will be all over the news. It will be TV, radio, internet, news apps. We'll all carry this story. If you have a news app feature activated on your phone to give you breaking news, it'll be dinging and buzzing you. What's going on? These 2 men that have been preaching for the last 3.5 years have been destroyed. The Antichrist has killed them viciously, and their bodies are lying in the street of Jerusalem. The world that doesn't know Jesus will be celebrated. It'll be as big as 9/11. Let me ask you again. How many of you remember exactly, if you were alive then, exactly where you were on the events of 9/11? You do, don't you? And we found out about those because they were broadcast over the news. We because we all saw that happen worldwide at the same time. Everybody knew it. Listen to the two witnesses who were killed at the midpoint of the 7-year time, at the end of the age. The entire world will see it at the same time. The media technology. So what's that say to us? God said at the time the knowledge will increase to the point where media technology is astounding today. And these almost certainly one of the things that we refer to. Thing number 5. Let me see if you can catch that. Everybody ready for thing number 5? I see people writing. Thing number 5 is computerization. Computerization. We live in a computer world. You agree with that? You don't know computers today, you almost don't work. I mean, you know what I mean? Kids are learning computers in early grades today. Amber came up and told me after the first worship gathering today, she said, you were talking about computers. She said, Tyson tells me now they're taking their spelling test on computer. Spelling test, that blows my mind. You know? I'm a spelling freak, man. I love to spell, but I didn't take them on computer. Taking them on computers. I'm indebted to Nathan Jones for some parts of this message from a post that he had on David Graydon's site who gave us the breakdown of these 6 categories. Here's what he said in the beginning today. He said, being a web guy by profession. How many web guys or gals do we have in here today? We probably have some, even some IT people or whatever. He said, being a web guy by profession, I keep a pulse on the advancement of technology. And I have to tell you, the rapid advancements in technology continue to blow my mind. I think that's true of web people. I think it's true of people who are on top of that. We do live in a computer world. Did you know that I completed college and seminary, bachelor's and a master's degree without a computer? How about that? I am one flat-out student. Let me tell you, I couldn't ask Mr. Google for stuff that I need. People ask me, they see all those books on all those shelves. Did you read all those? And I say, no. But I did go through and get a couple of comments and stick in a big paper or something, you know, some problem. Don't you all do that. You read them all word for word. I did that without a computer. Most college students today would be like, what? I typed them. 25-page papers in the master's program. I typed, or I wrote them. I'm a last-minute guy, man. I really am. So I can type a page or write a page and hit it clean. She's time. Oh, I made a mistake. White out. Ever do that? White out that thing, do whatever we can just to get it right. I would never make it through seminary without a problem. In today's world, people have no idea. Revelation 13 tells about the mark of the beast. Let me tell you, I would love to talk to you about that for a long time. Should have been here for the Revelation series. You know what I mean? But anyway, mark of the beast, which the Antichrist will use to control all buying and selling worldwide. Can you contribute? Here's what I said. It says, he also, the Antichrist, forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave. That's everybody. To receive a mark on their right hand and on their forehead, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. I'm not going to tell you what that is, because that's not what this message is all about. But here's my question. How can the mark of the beast be generated worldwide? So that everyone has this mark, either in their right hand or on their forehead. The mark of the beast will be generated worldwide. It will be accomplished, I believe, undoubtedly through the use of computer technology. There is no other answer. There is no other way. With the advancement of computerization in the world today, there is no other way. Now, I don't know exactly what this will involve, but I suspect, I don't know, I suspect that it will possibly be some type of microchip that is inserted by needle just under the skin of the right hand or into the forehead, and will feel like nothing more than getting a flu shot. I don't know that. I don't And it will be like a barcode. You go in and get groceries, it'll be like, "Boop, okay, you can have it. You don't have it, you go in to get groceries, no mark, they arrest you, take you away, walk off